Now, WikiLeaks wants you to know what's in Donald Trump's taxes. Now, look, this is pretty significant because Donald Trump is the only president in modern times who has decided not to release their tax returns to the public. Now, Trump has a lot of excuses for this. Oh, no, they're under audit. You can't see them while they're under audit. Well, no, that's actually not true. That's another one of his alternative facts. Despite the IRS, of course, saying, no, you can release them. So essentially, he's lying about this because he does not want you to see his tax returns. Why? We still don't know, and that's another reason to see it. Now, we have, of course, I've got a little bit video of Donald Trump talking to reporters about why he won't release his taxes.
Do you believe the hacking was justified, and will you release your tax returns to prove what you're saying about no deals in Russia?
Well, I'm not releasing the tax returns because, as you know, they're under audit.
Since the 70s, has had a required audit from the IRS.
Gee, I've never heard that.
But as president, sir,
you know, the only one that cares about my tax returns are the reporters. Okay,
you don't think the American public is concerned about that?
No, I don't think so. I won.
Do you believe the hacking?
I became president. No, I don't think they care at all. I don't think they care at all. I think you care. I think you care. And actually, people have learned a lot about my company, and now they realize my company is much bigger, much more powerful than they ever thought. We're in many, many countries, and I'm very proud of it.
Okay, again, see what he does there. See what this guy does. So not only is he like, oh, I didn't know that. Again, possibly a lie that WikiLeaks, or I'm sorry, not that WikiLeaks, that the IRS, that he didn't know the IRS would let you release your tax returns if you were under audit. I don't know if he knew that or not. Okay. But as far as, oh, they don't care. The American people don't care. And actually, he turned this around to say how big his businesses are. And that's what Donald Trump's great at. Just spinning the conversation, controlling the narrative. Now, as far as the American people not caring about this, that is another alternative fact. According to ABC News Washington Post poll, and this was done post-election, by the way. So his whole thing is, oh, they don't care. I won, didn't I? Well, no, that's not a good reason. Because there's still a lot of people that still want to see what's in your tax returns. And the reason that that's important, though non-binding, right? Because like it's a tradition that presidents release their tax returns so that we can see if they have any conflicts of interest. Well, we want to see if Donald Trump has conflicts of interest, but he doesn't want us to see that, which is very, very interesting. It makes us say, maybe he does have some conflicts of interest. Now, the American people, according to this poll, 74% of them say, let's see the tax returns. Let's see them. I want to see them. I want to see if you have these conflicts of interest. If not, great. It's the same thing about the Goldman Sachs transcripts. I wanted those released. Why? Because I wanted to see what kind of stuff how much she was getting paid and what kind of stuff that Hillary Clinton was saying to these banks. Now I want to see what Donald Trump, what kind of business entanglements he's gotten himself into. And if he has these conflicts of interest, especially with, I don't know, foreign nations. But anyway, now there was also an interview on ABC's this week where Kellyanne Conway, I almost called her Kanye, was asked about the over 200,000 petition signatures calling on Trump to release the tax returns. Now, 100,000 is the threshold where the White House has to respond. Now, Conway said, quote, the White House response is that he's not going to release his tax returns. We litigated all this through the election. People didn't care. They voted for him. And let me make this very clear. Most Americans are very focused on what their tax returns will look like while President Trump is in office, not what his look like. Now, again, I just read you the poll. Wrong. In fact, if Trump were here.
Wrong.
Okay. People actually do give a shit about this. Just like the millions who are actually worried about their health care, they also exist. Their Medicaid, their Medicare, and Social Security. Stuff that the Republicans, at least, are looking to gut. So, with all that context, here comes WikiLeaks. Now, on Sunday, the Transparency Organization urged people to submit Donald Trump's tax returns so they could release him because, as we can see, Donald Trump has no interest in doing so. Now, WikiLeaks tweeted, Trump counselor Kellyanne Conway stated today that Trump will not release his tax returns. Send them to us so we can. Ooh, I like that. Now, WikiLeaks also tweeted, quote, Trump's breach of promise over the release of his tax returns is even more gratuitous than Hillary Clinton's concealing of her Goldman Sachs transcripts. Again, damn, you were just dropping the hammer on Donald Trump. Here comes the people's elbow. Right into his face. Now, as far as WikiLeaks is concerned, I've been pretty consistent on them, okay? I believe in what they do, and I think they serve a vital function in releasing some of the data that we should be allowed to see. Things like exposing war crimes and exposing corruption in the highest levels of our government. That is stuff that we need to know. And so, look, I'm in support of WikiLeaks, and I have been for a long time. Now, there are some on the left, mainly supporters of Hillary Clinton, that unfortunately don't see it the same way that I do. In fact, they call WikiLeaks and anybody who supports them Kremlin apologists, Russian stooges, all that stuff, right? Or even, hey, you're a Donald Trump supporter since you support WikiLeaks. No, I support transparency. It's not my fault that Hillary Clinton, John Podesta wrote a whole bunch of crappy things in their email, like about Bernie Sanders and about how they're trying to pass questions off to Donna Brazile, passing questions off to Hillary Clinton through CNN, all that stuff, right? Now, there are also people out there that are saying that WikiLeaks, what they tweeted about Trump's tax returns, is just a cynical act of trying to regain credibility. I've heard that argument before, too. I don't agree with that. To me, this is WikiLeaks just being WikiLeaks. You want to know why they went after Clinton so hard? Well, first, they had this entire trove of Podesta emails just sitting there. Secondly, I believe that they assumed, like a lot of people, that Hillary Clinton was going to win the election, so it was important to release these emails to hold her accountable and to hold the Democrats accountable. Now, did the Podesta emails that were released have a huge impact? Now, for me, personally, I argue, no, not so much. At least from my perspective, and of course, those of you who are watching at home, you kind of already knew that Hillary Clinton was an establishment politician, and that establishment politics right now is pretty corrupt. Now, you also know that she and the DNC did not like Bernie Sanders. They didn't like any challenge from progressives. No. It's Hillary Clinton's turn. It's Hillary's turn. She's going to be the safe establishment choice. And that's what we want because the establishment works for us. So we all knew that the DNC was going to protect itself from any sort of progressive challenger, whether it be Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? They don't like progressives. Now, again, the Podesta emails were not that all surprising. What it did is that it just affirmed what we already suspected out of the DNC and the Democratic Party. So I'm going to argue, and maybe I'm wrong, but that I'm going to argue that it didn't have that big of an effect on people. Okay? Especially, it didn't have an effect on Hillary Clinton supporters, certainly. And it didn't have an effect on Trump supporters. It didn't have an effect on a lot of people. Okay? So I think it's wrong when the DNC tries to blame WikiLeaks for hurting her chances. I would argue that the DNC and Hillary Clinton hurt their own chances. And again, this is coming from somebody who wants to see not less Democrats win. I want to see more Democrats win. I want to see progressive priorities. So this isn't coming from a Trump perspective. Now, finally, I do want to note the hypocrisy of some Democrats on this issue, and of course the hypocrisy of Republicans as well. Now, for example, when the Manning documents come out, Chelsea Manning released this information, war crimes in Iraq and Afghanistan. There's a lot of people on the left that said, great, that's awesome. We love WikiLeaks. Keep doing what you're doing. And then when Obama came into office and WikiLeaks released details from Edward Snowden, basically showing how the government is essentially spying on all of us through these massive data collection programs. Well, suddenly these same Democrats that were like, yay, for Chelsea Manning and WikiLeaks are now saying, boo, Edward Snowden. And so, and on the other side of the coin, you had conservatives that were like, yay, let's go after Obama, let's go after the Democrats. Now, again, when Snowden, the files came out, Democrats flipped their shit. And now with the Podesta emails, the coin has flipped again. And basically, Democrats now see WikiLeaks as this stooge of Russia, and the enemy the person that got Trump elected. While now, to Republicans, it's essentially a hero. But really, when it comes to it, WikiLeaks, I don't think, takes sides. Or at least the truth does not take partisan sides. Now, I reported very aggressively in the Podesta emails. And I'm also in favor of Chelsea Manning. I was so glad that when her sentence got commuted, that she'll be out in 5 months. And I'm in favor of bringing home Edward Snowden and pardoning him as well. But I also want to see Trump's tax returns. And I also want to see any dirt they have on the RNC as well. We know they're a corrupt party, but we don't know how corrupt they really are. For those who keep making this a partisan issue, you're wrong. WikiLeaks does not serve a political party. Its ideology is simply the release of information. It has always been, and hopefully will continue to do so in the name of holding governments accountable and promoting transparency. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.